Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 7th Annual SALTA Awards Ceremony. We are coming to you live from the Johannesburg Stock Exchange in Sandton, South Africa, and broadcast around the world. Indeed, our audience tonight are ETF and index enthusiasts, representatives from the industry, issuers, sponsors of the event, stakeholders, participants in the broader industry, and of course, a broad range of investors. We are gathered here tonight to applaud the success of our winners, but also to celebrate the rapid pace of expansion in our industry. I'm Nerina Visser from ETFSA, and I will be your host this evening. On behalf of the organisers and the sponsors, the Profile Group, LSEG, the JSE, and ETFSA, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to the 7th Annual SALTAs, the South African Listed Tracker Fund Awards. The SALTAs celebrate the achievements of ETP issuers in South Africa, and tonight with specific reference to the period that ended on the 31st of December 2023. The scene is certainly set for an evening of celebration and joy, and I issue a special word of welcome to the representatives of our issuers. Listed tonight in order from the youngest to the oldest. Now, I know that's dangerous territory, but this is in terms of being an ETP issuer. So, first on the list we have Prescient, UBS, 10X, One Invest, Signia, Standard Bank, Investec, FNB, ABSA, and Satrix. We also have representatives of some of the fund managers of the actively managed products. You are all our VIPs tonight as we recognize your efforts and your successes in this booming industry. As much as the world around us change, there is one constant, and that is change. In 2023, 39 new exchange-traded products listed on the JSE. And we've seen both consolidation and new entrants amongst the issuers. Active is the new passive, but with all but 10 of the newly listed products being actively managed, watch this space. All of these changes are already reflected in the annual SALTAs, and we can expect the awards to continue to evolve in years to come, just to prove that there is no such thing as passive investing. The common feature here tonight lies in the exchange-traded aspect, the single characteristic shared by all 182 qualifying exchange-traded products. Tonight, we will be handing out 25 awards, 2 less than we did in 2023, because competition is starting to get serious here, guys. And this is growing evidence of this competition, but also, I think, the discernment from our issuers and our investors in this industry. Now, metrics of growth and expansion come in many different forms, but I would argue that it is the vast increase in the range of strategies and exposures available in the ETP industry that is most telling. There may be many more unit trusts than exchange-traded products on offer in South Africa, but a larger number does not necessarily mean more choice for investors. With around half of unit trust investments held just in balanced fund portfolios, the discerning investor knows that exchange-traded products are the place to go for variety in building blocks if you really want to build portfolios that match investment objectives. Another metric of growth is, of course, assets under management, or in the case of exchange-traded products, the total market capitalization as per the JSE listing statistics. In 2023, this increase was 26.6% over the calendar year. And although this was in part attributable to price increases, you will note from the capital raising awards tonight that almost a quarter of this growth came from new capital. Did I hear someone say the JSE is shrinking? I think it's time we take the blinkers off and acknowledge that there's a lot more to the stock exchange than local equities. In fact, barely 1/5 of the available exchange-traded products represent local equities. The other almost 80% offers investors exposure to global markets, other asset classes, and of course, commodities, where the JSE started all those years ago. But this industry can't exist only through issuers and investors. The ecosystem in which it operates is vital, and many are represented here tonight in person, but also in our virtual audience. This includes, amongst others, stock exchanges, index providers, asset managers, market makers, trustees, authorized participants, brokers, liquidity providers, investment platforms, financial advisors, discretionary fund managers, and of course, the Financial Sector Conduct Authority, under whose ultimate guardianship the industry operates. Thank you for being with us tonight as we celebrate the achievements of our colleagues and our peers. The qualifying universe of the ETPs considered for the SALTAs tonight are the 182 exchange-traded products that were listed on the JSE as at the end of December 2023. This excludes the 32 single stock exchange-traded notes, which the sponsors decided are not representative of the scope of the SALTAs. And as before, the awards are presented in 4 broad categories: total return performance, tracking efficiency, capital raising, and trading efficiency. The preamble of the Constitution of South Africa starts with "We the people." And in recognition of those to whom the investment, ultimately the wealth, belongs, we will close the awards ceremony tonight with a perennial favorite, the People's Choice Award. But as they say in the classics, that's not all. Because as much as local is lekker, exchange-traded products allows us to access the world as our oyster. Whether we do this from the comfort of our isitulo, in our ikaya, and in our kasi. We will therefore award 2 People's Choice Awards tonight, one for a local exchange-traded product and the other for a foreign exchange-traded product. Who will it be? You'll just have to be patient a little bit longer. But back to the main awards. ETPs have been categorized according to up to 6 different asset class categories, although in some cases these have been combined to ensure a representative group of qualifying exchange-traded products. The 6 groups are South African equity ETPs, South African non-equity ETPs, foreign equity index tracking ETPs, foreign equity actively managed AMCs, foreign non-equity ETPs, and finally, commodity and currency exchange-traded products. Qualifying ETNs, exchange-traded notes, and AMCs, actively managed certificates, have been included alongside the physically backed ETFs in the same asset class category where relevant. But I know I stand between you and a celebratory glass of bubbly, so let me get out the way and onto the important stuff. Presenting the awards tonight are representatives of the 4 sponsors of the SALTAs. From the Profile Group, Ernie Alexander; from LSEG, Grant Molyneux; from the JSE, Adele Hutton; and from ETFSA, Mike Brown and Gareth Stobie. On to the first award category. Now, in this first award category, the focus is on total return performance. And past performance, despite that most common of disclaimers, remain one of the easiest and most popular ways of evaluating investments, even if only from the perspective of a rearview mirror. But when it comes to the calculation of the total return of an investment in an exchange-traded product, especially one that pays out distributions, you cannot look just at the change in the share price over time. Now, the Profile Group, arguably the foremost provider of data of ETPs in South Africa, meticulously calculated the relevant performance for all the ETPs qualifying for awards in this first category. So I would like to invite Ernie Alexander from the Profile Group to join me on stage to hand out the first group of awards. Performance has been measured for a lump sum investment on a total return net asset value basis, with all distributions reinvested. There are 4 periods of assessment. As before, Performance has been assessed over 3, 5, and 10 years, all to the end of December 2023. But in recognition of the significant growth in the number of actively managed products in recent times, we will also tonight hand out a 1-year performance award. In the 10-year investment horizon, there are 2 subcategories. In the 5- and 3-year investment horizons, 3 subcategories each, and a single 1-year performance award. Now, the finalists for the 10-year total return category are testimony to the ETF providers who are long-standing participants in this industry. And can you believe it that in this first award this evening, in the South African ETP category, there are 21 ETFs with at least a 10-year track record. Quite remarkable if you think of this industry. The margin of separation at the top of the leaderboard was razor thin. I know Profile had to redo some of the numbers a couple of times to make sure they got this right. There was only 22 basis points, bear in mind, over a 10-year period that separated the top 3. So really, a mention in the top 3 is as good as gold in this category. So, in third place, with a total return of 8.6% per annum, we have the Satrix 40 ETF. In second place, this could get a long night. In second place, with a total return of 8.7% per annum, the One Invest Top 40 ETF. And in first place, for the ETF with the highest 10-year performance in the South African ETP category, with a total return of 8.8% per annum over the 10-year period, is the FNB Top 40. Congratulations, FNB. We're going to ask our winners also to just pose for a picture. We've got our photographers ready. So, well done, FNB. For those that don't know, this started out as BIPS, it then became RMB, then it became Ashburton, now it's FNB. But you know what? A rose by any other name still win 10-year performance awards. Well done, guys. In the foreign and commodity category, we had 12 finalists. Now, although some of the historic performance is certainly attributable to the movement in the rand over the last decade, global markets have been strong performers, and the JSE-listed foreign and commodity ETPs provide investors with excellent opportunities to diversify their local investments with exposure to that other 99% of the global investment world beyond the borders of South Africa. In third place, with a total return of 11.3% per annum over the 10-year period, and proving that good investment performance can be found beyond equities, we have the Absa New Gold ETF. In second place, with a total return of 14.7% per annum, the Signia iTrix MSCI World ETF. And in first place, the ETF with the best 10-year performance in the foreign and commodity category, with a total return of 17.3% per annum over the 10-year period, the Signia iTrix MSCI US ETF. Congratulations, Signia. Great stuff. In the 5-year total return category for South African equity ETPs, we had 21 qualifying ETFs, and again, there was very little to choose between the top 3. And no, they're not all top 40 ETFs again, so hint. In third place, with a total return of 12.19% per annum, yes, we had to go to a second decimal place there, was the Satrix 40 ETF. In second place, but only just, with a total return of 12.22% per annum, we had the Satrix Resi ETF. And in first place for the ETF with the highest 5-year performance in the South African equity category with a total return of 12.6% per annum and showing some great consistency over the longer term. We once again have the FNB Top 40 ETF. Congratulations once again, FNB. Whoops. In the foreign exchange traded product category with a whopping 32 qualifying ETPs. Now this includes many index tracking ETNs as well. The dominance of the US over this 5-year period, and especially the tech theme, comes through strongly. In third place, with a total return of 21.5% per annum, we have the One Invest S&P 500 ETF. In second place, with a total return of 28.7% per annum, still the US, but this time excluding financial stocks, we have the Satrix Nasdaq ETF. And in first place, the ETF with the best 5-year performance in the foreign ETP category with an annualized return of 33.1% per annum. Yes, that's 33% per annum for 5 years. We have the One Invest S&P 500 Infotech ETF. Congratulations, One Invest. And thanks, Apple and Microsoft and NVIDIA. It was worth traveling all the way from Cape Town. Hey, Ryan. In the commodity and currency category with 13 qualifying exchange-traded products from 3 different issuers, including several ETNs and non-CIS ETFs, as you often find in the case of commodities and currencies, there was still some performance attributable to the currency, but the performance of the underlying asset in dollar terms was certainly the biggest driver of performance. In third place, with a total return of 15.4% per annum, we have the One Invest Gold ETF. Beating it into second place by a narrow margin, with a total return of 15.7% per annum, the FNB Kruger Rand Custodial Certificate. Certainly a much more efficient way of investing in Kruger Rands than those that you hide under your mattress or even in your couch. But in first place, the ETF with the best 5-year performance in the commodity and currency category, despite facing some serious headwinds in recent years, still giving a return of 16.6% per annum over the past 5 years, we once again have the One Invest Rhodium ETF. Congratulations, One Invest. We now move on to the 3-year performance category to recognize the asset classes not covered by the 5-year awards, in case you thought we missed out on some. There were, in the South African non-equity category, there were 14 qualifying ETFs covering interest-bearing, property, multi-asset portfolios. And interestingly enough, despite the sharp increase in interest rates over this period, it is perhaps surprising that the finalists in this category did not come from pure interest-bearing investments. In fact, in third place, with a total return of 13.6% per annum, we have the Satrix SA Property ETF. This one tracks an S&P index, which also includes real estate companies with a primary listing offshore. In second place, with a return of 14% per annum, we have the One Invest SA Property ETF, which tracks the FTSE JSE SA-listed property index. But in first place, in the South African non-equity category, with a best 3-year performance of a total return of 16.7%, proving the value of customization and focus on yield when it comes to an asset class such as listed property, we have the 10X SA Property Income ETF. Congratulations, 10X. In the first award for the evening focused specifically on actively managed investments. All 12 actively managed certificates or AMCs offer exposure to foreign equity markets. In this category, we need to recognize the asset manager as much as we do the issuer, which in this case is all UBS. So no prizes for guessing which issuer is winning this award. In third place, with a total return of 8.3% per annum, we have the UBS FNB Global Equity Growth AMC. In second place, with a total return of 13.9% per annum, we have the UBS Excelsior Global Equity Growth AMC. But perhaps surprisingly, over this 3-year period, the highest performance of 17.1% per annum came from a portfolio that was not specifically focused on growth as an investment style. And this was the UBS FNB Global Equity AMC. Congratulations, UBS, and of course also congratulations to FNB, the asset manager of this award. Yes, you may come, Abashin. The foreign non-equity ETP category, although only represented by 9 ETPs, covers a very diversified range of asset classes and investment strategies. But this year, the finalists all came from the listed property investments. Again, surprising considering the pain investors experienced from this asset class in recent years. However, despite that, in third place, with a total return of 11.4% per annum, we have the 10X S&P Global Property ETF. In second place, marginally ahead with a total return of 11.6% per annum, offering exposure to the same underlying ETF index, the Signia iTrix Global Property ETF. But the highest 3-year performance of 12% per annum was achieved by the One Invest Global REIT ETF. Congratulations, One Invest. In our final performance category, recognizing the rapid growth in the number of options available in the foreign equity actively managed category, we already have 20 qualifying AMCs. Investors will need to familiarize themselves with the investment strategies of AMCs, much like is required from evaluating different actively managed unit trust options. And past performance is but one metric that may be considered. However, in third place in this category, with a total return of 30% per annum during 2023, we have the UBS Anbro Unicorn Global Equity AMC. In second place, but by just a fraction, with a total return of 30.7%, the UBS Old Mutual Wealth Global AMC. Interestingly enough, these two AMCs were past winners in the past 2 years, so showing some great consistency in performance. but demonstrating really great consistency over the shorter period of just 1 year, with a total return of 37.5% in 2023. We once again applaud the UBS FNB Global Equity, AMC. As before, we congratulate UBS, but also specifically FNB, the asset manager of this AMC. Thank you, Ernie, for getting us off to a strong start with the Performance Awards. I would now like to invite Grant Molyneux, representing the LSEG, the London Stock Exchange Group, to join me on stage to hand out the awards for tracking efficiency. And I'm really hoping that Grant is here, because earlier this week I got an out of office from him. I think he's on leave. Adele, you see? Thank you. Thank you for stepping up to the plate, Adele Hutting of the JSE. Now, a key word in the name SALTA is the word tracker. And evaluating tracking error is an important consideration in rewarding excellence in our industry. In this second award category, the efficiency of ETPs to deliver as closely as possible the performance of the underlying index or asset is recognized. This is arguably one of the most important metrics by which an index tracker investment should be evaluated. The total return achieved by investing in an ETP over any given period should be as close as possible to the total return of the index or the underlying asset over the same period. Now, differences might be attributable to things like direct and indirect costs, managing periodic index rebalancing, efficiency in creation and redemption of units, appropriate cash flow management related to corporate actions such as distributions, and more. Bear in mind, an index is just a mathematical calculation. It comes free of charge. Well, sorry, no. I think the index providers charge, but you know what I mean. But therefore, this absolute difference in performance represented as a single number is the tracking efficiency of the ETP. And tonight we reward the best tracking efficiency measured over 3 years in 4 different categories. Of course, theoretically speaking, it should be a lot easier for an index tracking ETN to deliver minimal tracking error. So it'll be interesting to monitor this over time to see if index tracking ETNs do indeed offer lower tracking errors. But just to confirm also, it goes without saying that the actively managed products, both AMCs as well as AM ETFs, would not qualify for tracking awards, as this is not their objective. Now, in the first one, in the South African equity category, from a universe of 22 qualifying exchange-traded products, all finalists came from the large cap segment, perhaps an indication of the efficiency and tradability of the largest shares on the JSE. Our issuers continue to deliver remarkable tracking efficiency for investors. In third place, with a tracking difference of 36 basis points over 3 years. It's not a lot per year if you think about it. In third place, we have the Satrix 40 ETF. In second place, with a tracking difference of just 12 basis points, the One Invest Top 40 ETF. But the award for the best tracking efficiency in the South African equity category, with a tracking difference of an astonishing 3 basis points. That's 1 basis point per year. So thereby really delivering the index performance with minimal tracking differential over the 3-year period is the FNB Top 40 ETF. Congratulations, FNB. Excellent. Well done, FNB. Now, to show that good tracking efficiency can also be achieved in non-equity sectors, we have a diverse range of finalists in the South African non-equity category, with a qualifying universe of 14 different ETFs. In third place, with a tracking difference of 25 basis points, we have a money market ETF, the Satrix Tracy 3-month ETF. In second place, with a tracking difference of 24 basis points, we have the One Invest SA Bond ETF, offering investment in government bonds on a much more flexible basis than retail savings bonds, that's for sure. But in first place, with a remarkable efficiency of a tracking difference of just 9 basis points over 3 years, offering investment exposure across asset classes, the ETF with the best tracking efficiency in the South African non-equity category is the Satrix Multi-Asset Protect ETF. Congratulations, Satrix. I see some competition coming for all those balanced fund unit trusts. Hashtag just saying. Well done. In the foreign equity index tracking category from a universe of 22 qualifying ETFs, we once again have a very diverse range of investment options. In third place, with a tracking difference of 13 basis points, we have the F&B Global 1200 Equity Fund of Funds ETF. In second place, with a tracking difference of 10 basis points, we have the Satrix S&P 500 ETF. But the award for the best tracking efficiency in the foreign equity category with a tracking difference of just 3.6 basis points over 3 years goes to the Satrix MSCI China ETF. Congratulations, Satrix. And then finally, in the foreign non-equity commodity and currency category with a large universe of 22 qualifying exchange-traded products, the finalists once again represent a very broad variety of investment exposures. In third place, with a tracking difference of 13 basis points, we have the Satrix Global Aggregate Bond ETF. In second place, with a tracking difference of 8 basis points, we have last year's winner, the Absa New Gold Platinum ETF. But the top award for the best tracking efficiency in the foreign non-equity commodity and currency category, with a tracking difference of just 6.4 basis points, the winner is the Absa New Wave Silver ETN. Congratulations, Absa. Thanks, Adele, for your assistance. I will call on you again later. But for now, I would like to invite Mike Brown to join me on stage to hand out the awards in the capital raising category. So now we move on to our third category, being the capital raising category. Capital raising for exchange-traded products refer both to the listing of new products, but also the issuance of additional units in an existing exchange-traded product. And this is a sign of healthy growth in the ETP market as it represents new investment capital coming into the industry. In this award category, we recognize the ability to raise new capital measured over a 3-year period to the end of December 2023. Awards will be presented in 5 different categories: for an individual South African ETP, equity ETP, an individual South African non-equity ETP, for an individual foreign equity ETP, and then for individual foreign non-equity ETPs, and that includes the commodity exchange-traded products. And finally, we will have an award for the ETP issuing house that raised the most net new capital across all their products over the past 3 years. In the category for South African equity products, demand remains robust. Out of a qualifying universe of 26 products, In third place, we have the Satrix Capped All-Share ETF with net new capital raised of 639 million rand. In second place, with 742 million rand of net new capital raised, the FNB Top 40 ETF. And the winner in the South African Equity ETF category, with over 2 billion rand of net new capital raised, once again proving that old is not cold, the grandfather of them all, the Satrix 40 ETF. Congratulations, Satrix. Now, one area of noticeable growth in recent years is evident in the capital raising in South African non-equity products, proving that exchange-traded products are about much more than just domestic shares. Out of a qualifying universe of 16 products, the finalists in this category showcased strong demand for interest-bearing and income products, which is probably not surprising in the light of higher interest rates. In third place, we have the Satrix SA Bond ETF, with net new capital raised of 611 million rand. Remarkably, in second place, considering that this was the first actively managed ETF to list on the JSE less than a year ago, we have 691 million rand of net new capital raised by the 10x Income Actively Managed ETF. And the winner in the South African non-equity ETF category, building on its strong showing in last year's awards, with more than 2 billion rand of net new capital raised, the 10x Wealth Govie ETF. Congratulations, 10x Investments. Now, we know that South Africans do love their rand hedge and offshore investments for obvious reasons. And the capital raised in the foreign equity category is testament to the fact that South African investors are increasingly turning to exchange-traded products to satisfy this need. We have a qualifying universe of 33 products, so definitely very strong competition. And in third place, we have the Satrix S&P 500 ETF with 1.64 billion rand of net new capital raised. In second place, the Signia iTrix MSCI World ETF, raising just over 1.76 billion rand of net new capital. But topping the log in the foreign equity category, attracting almost 4 billion rand of net new capital over the past 3 years, the Satrix MSCI World ETF. Congratulations, Satrix. Now, demand for rand hedge and foreign referenced investments stretch beyond equities, and the capital raised in the foreign non-equity category showcases this demand very well. With 23 qualifying products in this category, in third place, with 403 million rand of net new capital raised, we have the Satrix Global Aggregate Bond ETF. Demand for black gold remains high. And investment exposure via an exchange-traded product is certainly the most efficient way to satisfy that demand. As a result, the Standard Bank Oil ETN raised more than 500 million rand of net new capital over the past 3 years. putting it in second place in this category. But the ETP in the foreign non-equity category, which attracted the most net new capital over 3 years, just over 600 million rand of it, proving that all that glitters is not gold, a repeat winner from 2023, the ABSA New Wave Silver ETN. Congratulations once again, ABSA. Now, as the ETP industry in South Africa continues to grow, both as measured by assets under management and in terms of the number of products and issuers, it's clear to see that there is healthy competition to raise new capital. I'm sure the JSE is very happy about that. Fortunately, there are ETPs to suit every taste, every style, and every investment objective. So hats off to our issuers for bringing investment products to market for which there is healthy demand. Over the last 3 years, billions of rands in new investment capital were raised by the South African ETP industry. And as much as it continues to be driven by the established players, the new kids on the block represent the young Turks, I guess. And I, for one, look forward to the evolution of this healthy competition. As they say, watch this space, especially as the actively managed segment of the ETP industry continue to expand. But for now, looking back at the past 3 years, in third place, we have Signia Itrix with a total of 4.6 billion rand in net new assets raised. In second place, not resting on the laurels of the existing book they took over from CoreShares, 10x Investments raised almost 6.8 billion rand in net new capital. But the ETF issuing house that managed to raise the most net new capital in total from all of its ETFs, over 11.2 billion rand over the past 3 years. Satrix Managers. Congratulations, Satrix. Thanks, Mike, for your assistance. Adele, if you would please join me on stage again so that we could trade out the fourth category, which is for trading efficiency. Now, in this fourth awards category, in the final one, we get to that, the we, the people part. We focus our attention on the ET part, the exchange-traded aspects, because exchange-traded products are differentiated from unit trusts and other unlisted investments in their ability to trade in the secondary market. And the role of the market maker is an important one, as they facilitate both buying and selling for investors and so ensure liquidity on demand. Trading efficiency can be measured by the average ratio of the volume of units traded every day as a percentage of the total units in issue. And perhaps in future, we should actually be recognizing the market makers in this category, or the liquidity providers, as it may be, rather than the issuers. But tonight, we are granting 5 awards in this category. For South African equity ETPs, there are 23 qualifying products which have been trading continuously for the past 3 years. So again, tough competition. In third place, we have the FNB Top 40 ETF. And in second place, the Satrix FINI ETF. But over the 3-year period to the end of December 2023, the ETP with the highest trading efficiency ratio was the Satrix Resi ETF. Congratulations, Satrix. Interestingly, this is the third year in a row that we have a kyk weer in this category. So it really demonstrates remarkable consistency in trading efficiency. So Satrix, I think you need to recognize and thank your market maker in this regard as well. In the category for non-equity South African products, there are 14 qualifying ETPs, and it covers a broad spectrum of different interest-bearing, listed property and multi-asset investment portfolios. In third place, we have the Satrix Property ETF. In second place, the Satrix SA Bond ETF. And confirming the attraction of government bond investments in recent years, the ETP with the highest trading efficiency ratio in the South African non-equity category was the Satrix Govie ETF. Now, formally, of course, this was issued by ABSA New Fund, so I think they also deserve part of this award. But nevertheless, congratulations, Satrix, well done. In the category for foreign equity index tracking exchange traded products, competition was tough with 22 qualifying candidates. And confirming efficiency across a broad geographic range, in third place, we had the Satrix MSCI World ETF. In second place, the Satrix S&P 500 ETF. But the winning ETF with the highest trading efficiency ratio over the 3-year period to the end of December 2023 was the Satrix MSCI China ETF. Congratulations, Satrix. She's coming, don't worry. In the category for foreign equity actively managed AMCs, efficiency between the 13 qualifying candidates were no less impressive. In third place, we had the UBS Efficient Group Global Equity AMC. In second place, the UBS FNB Global Equity AMC. But winning this category with the highest trading efficiency ratio over 3 years to the end of December 2023 was the UBS Andro Capital Global Unicorn AMC. Congratulations, UBS and Andro Capital, for excellence in market making. In the category for foreign non-equity commodity and currency exchange traded products, there were 22 qualifying candidates, so another very tough competition. In third place, we had the 10x Global Property ETF, and in second place, a commodity ETF, the ABSA New Gold ETF. But the winning ETP with the highest trading efficiency ratio over this 3-year period, once again showcasing the efficiency of getting direct currency exposure via an exchange-traded note, the ABSA New Wave Dollar ETN. Congratulations, ABSA. Thanks, Adele. Finally, I'd like to invite Gareth Stobie to join me on stage to hand out the final awards of the evening, because we're nearing the end of our awards ceremony and the trophy table now look quite sparse, but all is not yet done. All the award categories that we've already recognized tonight are based on the quantitative metrics of performance, tracking, capital raising, and trading seen in the exchange-traded product industry over the last 10 years. But as has become the norm at the annual SALTAs, the final award of the evening is reserved for the voice of the people, the investors, those who ultimately benefit most from the excellence demonstrated by the industry and recognized so comprehensively tonight. Exchange-traded products can be described as true democratic investment vehicles. Not only is there a single price for all investors, large or small, institutional or retail, but the accessibility via public listed market on the stock exchange all adds to the attractiveness to the people. So the People's Choice Award is a fitting flagship award for an industry who arguably have done more to broaden access to investments for the ordinary man, woman, and child. Investors from all walks of life were invited to vote for their favorite exchange-traded product and to tell us also why they love it so much. Now, as the number of options grow every year, this competition is just getting more and more intense. And as mentioned, the organizers of the SALTAs have decided this year to also add a second People's Choice Award. In addition to the local is lekker version, we now also have the world is your oyster version, so to speak. What's amazing is, once again, we had thousands of votes cast for both award categories, and it's exciting to see how many different products found favor with different investors. I want you to take note of some of the stats. In the local category, 47 individual exchange-traded products received votes. This is remarkable because there's only 55 products that offer local exposure. 47 of the 55 products received votes. On the offshore side, 70 of the 127 qualifying products received votes. That really talks to the broad-based, not just awareness, but also popularity of exchange-traded products amongst the investing public. So to all of you, you can take a bow. Well done. But starting with the local awards, special mention should be made of some of the popular options for each issuer, because unfortunately we can only have one winner. So let's just mention some of those popular options. For example, we had the 10x Top 50 ETF, the 10x Dividend Aristocrats ETF, the FNB Top 40 ETF, not surprising considering the awards you won, and the FNB Inflation Linked Bond ETF. Even some of the UBS AMCs got votes, even though most of the AMCs fall into the foreign category, so not bad. On the offshore side, the options were more plentiful, and so are those worthy of a special mention, which include, but should not be limited to, but I'm going to mention a few names, the Signia iTrix FANG AI actively managed ETF, the UBS APSA Global Equity AMC, again, a winner, the 10x Total World Equity ETF, the Satrix MSCI India ETF, the One Invest Gold ETF, the FNB Global 1200 Equity ETF, the Standard Bank High Street Offshore Yielding AMC, the UBS Anbro World's Biggest Brands AMC. These are just some of the selection of 70 different products that received votes. But yeah, if I keep going like this, the bubbles waiting for us outside is going to be all gone by the time we get there. So let me rather just conclude by saying that I believe it really is exchange-traded products overall that are the people's choice. But the people have spoken, their voices are strong, so in recognition of the broad range of products that received votes, we also want to acknowledge the runners-up in each category. Who knows, there's always next year. But for now, it was clear that traditional major ETFs were still the favorite in 2023. In a clean sweep by top 40 ETFs. In the local section of the People's Choice category, in third place, we have the Signia iTrix Top 40 ETF. In second place, we recognize the One Invest Top 40 ETF. But the power of the brand and the successful engagement with a client base is very evident from our winner. You know, accolades most often quoted include things like low cost, consistent performance, stable growth, great investment, best choice ever, I could go on. But it should probably come as no surprise to any of you that the local People's Choice SALTA for 2024 once again for the 7th year in a row, the Satrix 40 ETF. Congratulations, Satrix. Oh, is ek nou? Well done, Satrix. And then finally, in recognition of the global exposure afforded by exchange-traded products on the JSE, it's fitting that the final award of the evening is made to the People Choice for a global investment option, but listed on the local exchange. It is clear that investors embrace the opportunities set offered to them through exchange-traded products referencing offshore markets, but the strong performance of developed markets, and especially tech-heavy US investments, dominate the charts. We've already mentioned some of the strong contenders in this category, but the final results gave the nod to a third-place finish for the OneInvest S&P 500 Infotech ETF, winner of the 5-year performance SALTA tonight. In second place, we have the Satrix Nasdaq ETF, another star performer on the back of shining performance from the so-called Magnificent 7 stocks. But ultimately, investors with a more general and broad-based view of global investment opportunities focused on the MSCI World Index in recent years, which captured much of the best of what was available. And for South African investors, their vehicle of choice, as recognized through the Foreign People's Choice SALTA Award for 2024, the Satrix MSCI World ETF. Congratulations once more, Satrix. Oh, congratulations, Satrix, and thank you to Gareth. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this brings to a close the 7th annual SALTA Awards ceremony. And may I take this opportunity to extend a special word of thanks to the sponsors and organizers of the SALTAs, the Profile Group, the LSEG, the JSE, and ETFSA. As always, this is only possible through the collective efforts of a dream team, and I extend my personal gratitude to the individuals behind the scenes who worked tirelessly to get us to this point of recognition and festivity. We look forward to celebrating your continued excellence and success at the 2025 SALTAs. It has been my privilege to host the SALTA Awards ceremony tonight here at the JSE. Please join me in a final round of applause to all the award recipients. I say cheers, Ihlombe, Injabulo, Masinwabe. And with this, we sign out from the live broadcast. Let the celebrations begin. Good night.